Farms. And for Northwestern, Blake Burke, Jennings, Parker, and Young. And Laz, we look at Indiana, A.J. Moye getting the start tonight.
Yeah, Northwestern not a very tall team, not like Indiana faced against Ohio State. So Indiana can go with the 3 guards, move Moye in there instead of Bracy Wright.
So Bracy Wright on the Pines tonight, at least for the start of this one. 14 straight games in double figures. That is a rookie record in Indiana.
You can see that red shirt on. That's obviously not the regular uniform, but he may not play today. It's a lower back injury, and it's going to probably keep him out of tonight's game.
Well, the Hoosiers control the opening tip, and this Big Ten basketball game is underway. Indiana trying to bounce back from a loss to Columbus. They were out-rebounded. They were out-hustled. Mike Davis said the Buckeyes simply wanted it more, which he can't understand. He's looking for more leadership from this Indiana team.
Moye is a real fiery guy, and so for him to be in the lineup should help in that aspect, Mike.
Good ball fake that time. Hornsby misses his first shot, so he's 0 for his last 10. Offensive rebound went to Leach, but it's stolen away by Northwestern. Jason Burke, the 6'8 senior.
Talked to Bill Carmer today. He wants his team to have a little fire and passion as well. Wants some senior leadership out there, and feels this team can get some Big Ten victories. He felt he could have got those last 2.
You know, it's interesting, Laz, you talk about the parallels about the three-point shot deserting not only Indiana, but deserting both teams, and both teams shooting better inside the arc. And with Bill Carmody, you say, well, that's part of your offense, kind of the cat and mouse game. There's the leaner, doesn't go for Young, rebound by Newton. And he said it is part of our offense, but we are taking too many threes, something that Mike Davis said right after the Buckeye game. So that's interesting.
A patient offense by Northwestern. They do like to shoot the 3-point shot. Still run a back cut now and then, but they hold their opponent to under 60 points a game, so they play some good defense as well.
Newton, his first shot doesn't go down. Burke with his second rebound. T.J. Parker, the 6'2 freshman out of Lisle, Illinois, throws it away. Coverdale. It's knocked out of bounds by Parker, but it stays Indiana basketball. So you look at the series, 0-28 at Assembly Hall. As a matter of fact, the last time Northwestern won here was 1968. Remember that year well, Laz, because the Tigers won the World Series and the Packers won the NFL championship. And I'm sure you remember it for other reasons, of course.
I was a freshman in high school. That's a long time ago.
Hornsby, there's some of that Louisiana Lightning. That's a 3 for Kyle Hornsby.
Kyle knows he didn't make any shots against Ohio State, 0 for 9, but he's already taken 2 today. And the difference this year is he's not afraid to shoot the ball. He doesn't look at the bench. He just keeps shooting, and they're going to go in.
Burke takes it strong to the rack, doesn't go, bounces off. Leach rebounds. Yeah, you'd hate to see a shooter like Hornsby clam up.
Now that he's made one, Northwestern will pay more attention to him and see how far out Tim Young was when Hornsby got the ball.
And Laz, that race between Hornsby and Coverdale continues. Coverdale with 157 threes, and Hornsby, that was his 151st. Good look inside. Moye is clobbered, and the junior out of Atlanta will be going to the line shooting 2.
Moye found a little opening there in the short corner. There's Bill Carmody. He's done a nice job at Northwestern. 4 years as head coach at Princeton before coming over to Northwestern.
That's a great point. Later in the broadcast, we're going to touch on the fact. Remember that 32-game skid? They've done a great job since ending that skid as he tries to rebuild the program and keep it, sustain the program, and all the success they've had over the last couple of years.
There's Mike Davis, his 3rd year. Trying to get a little more fire out of his team, and I think Moye in the lineup will do that. He's been bringing him off the bench, but with the Bracy Wright injury, he was able to start A.J. and see if Indiana doesn't catch fire here early. They are ahead now with a 4-0 lead.
You know, as you talk about this Northwestern offense, came over from Princeton. You talk about all the backdoor cuts and the backdoor screens and the backdoor passes, but they like to step outside and launch the 3. 209 they hit last year. Cats having a hard time finding the iron, however. Coverdale. Count it.
Jeff Newton tried his hand at point guard there. Was able to get around the Northwestern defense, and Coverdale nails the 3 and gets the crowd going.
Well, Bill Carmody said they played well, but not well enough against Iowa and Purdue, and you don't want to turn around and go to Assembly Hall to take on a wounded Indiana team after losing to Ohio State, and right now it's 7-zip. Deep in the corner. Rattles out. So Winston Blake continues to struggle with his outside shot. Moye saw something down on the baseline, and Steve Wellmer blows the whistle and calls traveling on A.J. Moye. Steve Wellmer, Phil Bova, Sid Rodeheffer wearing the striped shirts, blowing the whistles tonight. As T.J. Parker and company still looking for that first bucket. 16:25 to go in the first half.
Indiana plays some pretty good defense, too. They hold their opponent to 66 a game. Coverdale with the sneak in there. It caused the turnover.
Yeah, I was just going to say, you can attribute that turnover to good defense by Indiana. So the Hoosiers now trying to build on the 7-0 start here from Assembly Hall.
Matchup zone defense by Northwestern. It starts out in the zone, and then it has a lot of man-to-man tendencies. So once the guy's in your area, you're right on him, you stay with him.
Moye. Good body hang. Good follow. Gets the offensive stick back. He has 3 of the 9 points.
Moye goes in at 6'4", so he's not the tallest guy, but he can jump quickly, and that's where you can increase your size by getting up quicker than the bigger guy you're going against. That time Moye did exactly that.
Burke, 16-footer. Jennings outside. Doesn't go down. He and Rick Rickert with 14 threes lead the nation as far as players 6'11" and taller. But the Cats now trailing 9-0, still looking for that first bucket. You can feel the frustration of Bill Carmody all the way on this side of the court. He gets into that crouched up position over on that bench, and things aren't going well. And things get worse.
Coverdale threaded the needle there. That went through the entire Northwestern defense. He somehow found Leach, and Leach put it right in.
After the loss to Purdue on Saturday, Bill Carmody went in the locker room. They talked about things like unforced turnovers and allowing offensive rebounds without boxing out. See Indiana 4 for 8. T.J. Parker, well, a blocking foul. Indiana fans thought Parker was out of control, but the foul will be called on A.J. Moye.
Now Moye is trying to draw that charge. Indiana's only had 5 charges called, 3 of them by Sean Klein. Mike Davis once more.
14:38 to go. Tom Coverdale with a 3 and a great assist to Mr. Leach.
Tracy. Tracy.
What?
What's the story? How about a little
How
hustle?
about taking it easy?
You think the world revolves around
I
you?
got a lot of teeth to brush.
You're another pampered athlete. That's... Wally, no! No! Zerbiak! Zerbiak, get out here!
Who's the line?
Now, your first source for round-the-clock sports news is even better. The new ESPN News. A brand new look with the enhanced bottom line that's always on and lets you know what's ahead. Constant score updates and live in-game stats. Highlights, news conferences, analysis, and more. The new ESPN News is here.
Rated E for everyone. This is what it feels like when I start draining threes.
This is what you'll see when you bring it in my lane.
This is what it feels like to be dunked on.
This is what it feels like to play in the NBA.
NBA 2K3.
Inside 15 minutes, first half, 11-0. Indiana on top of Northwestern. Big Ten season, maybe early last, but it's in full swing as you check the standings right now. Michigan State, they're 1-2 and headed for Minnesota.
Well, look at Illinois, expected to be there, but Purdue, Iowa, and Michigan, I think at 2-0 are surprises in the league. Indiana at 1-1, Northwestern still looking for that first win. And only 2 road teams have won. 9-2 the record. Illinois got Minnesota up in Minneapolis, and Iowa defeated these Wildcats.
Well, Bill Carmody went 10-3 last year at home. He said now if we can sustain that and maybe win half of our Big Ten road games, but boy, that might be asking a lot of any team. I mean, even the better schools or more, I should say more, well, I can't say the better schools, but the more traditional schools, they talk about going on the road and winning half of the road games.
11-5 last year got you a tie for the conference title. 4 teams did that. So it's difficult to go 14-2, 13-3. I mean, there's too many road games. Everybody has to play 8.
Burke sees an opening, tries it off the window. He scored. And Phil Bova says the basket will count. So Jason Burke gets Northwestern's first bucket. He'll be going to the line shooting 3.
Just for the timeout, Moye tried to draw the foul. This time he did again as well. But watch how he moves out to his left here and try to draw the contact. So definitely the call goes against Moye. It's his second now, and now we'll see what Mike Davis does as he picks up 2 early fouls.
66% shooter, caps out the three-point play. First 3 points for the Cats tonight. A.J. Moye, as last predicted, goes out. Now Strickland comes in. So the Hoosiers now going with Coverdale, Strickland, Hornsby, Newton, and Leach.
3/4 court pressure by Northwestern. Good job by Coverdale to stop before he got to half court, although they still didn't get it over in 10 seconds, and the violation turns it over to Northwestern.
Third turnover for Mike Davis's Hoosiers. Hoosiers come in averaging about 11.5 turnovers, which is really good. You see Indiana with 3, Northwestern with 2. The Cats averaging about 12.4 turnovers a game. Last year at plus 2.5 the turnover margin, and Northwestern was number 1 in the Big Ten. A little give and go. Parker high off the window and scores his first bucket.
There's the offense Northwestern likes to run. If you fall asleep on defense, your guy will go right by you, and that got Parker a hoop on a layup.
Good ball movement by the Hoosiers, and Leach is hit pretty hard. So the southpaw will be going to the line shooting a couple for Indiana.
Let's watch Northwestern. There's T.J. Parker. He quickly gets it off, and Strickland turns to look at the ball. Parker goes right by him and gets the layup.
11-5. Leach, the 6'11 redshirt junior out of Charlotte, a 57% shooter. Knocks down his third point. So Moye, Coverdale, Leach, and Hornsby all with 3 for Mike Davis's Hoosiers. And Leach takes a scoring lead with 4. T.J. Parker leads the Cats at 12.5 points a game. That's the brother of Tony Parker, the starting guard for the San Antonio Spurs, who's averaging about 14. Parker misfires, found the opening, couldn't find the right range, and Coverdale, a little extra bounce in his step tonight.
Yeah, I think so. He knows that he can play better, and he wants to come out and show the team and Mike Davis he's back in action.
Well, Laz, if you didn't see the Buckeye Hoosier game, if you just read about it, you had Gracie Wright with 20 points, 8 rebounds. Coverdale at 18, 6 assists. Newton had 16 points. You'd never known that the Buckeyes came out on top of that one.
Indiana was really never in that game. Ohio State got the early lead and held on.
Coverdale. Rebound went to Leach, and there's the whistle against Northwestern. I believe it's going against Jimmy Maley, the 6'6 freshman.
Mike Davis wants it to be a shooting foul. There are 3 Hoosiers right there to get that offensive rebound. Leach is the one who came up with it, but it's going to be on the rebound, not the shot. But the foul was committed, so out of bounds to Indiana.
Getting back to what we talked about before, Bill Carmody said against Iowa, Purdue, I don't mind getting beat straight up, but I don't want to get beat when my players aren't putting their bodies on someone, not boxing out. Hornsby. That's a 3.
So you can tell when he gets squared up to the basket and there's nobody right in his face, there's a good chance that shot's going to go in. I could tell when he let that go, it had a good chance.
Hornsby with his 27th and 28th three-pointers. 152 now for his career. 16-5 Indiana on top. Aaron Jennings averaging 15 over his last 4. Been pretty quiet so far. A little step back doesn't go. Another rebound for Mr. Newton.
Hornsby thought about that one, but just a little too quick.
Leach with a left-handed hook.
Well, the Indiana offense really clicking now. They're hitting outside. They're getting the ball inside. Jennings, the only player of Newton and Leach's size, so it really advantaged Indiana with 2 big men.
First of 3 straight here in Assembly Hall for Indiana. Burke trying to back his man down to Tim Young. A little bit too strong, and Leach with another rebound. Leach comes in averaging 8.5 rebounds. Newton no longer averaging a double-double, but he's at 9.9 rebounds, so he's just a hair off. Very fast-moving first half here from Bloomington, Indiana. If you just joined us, 18-5, Hoosiers on top. Good hustle that time by Jimmy Maley. Last touch by Hornsby. But Mike Davis's Hoosiers in control. 18-5. The Southpaw was 6 for Indiana.
Ice. It starts out under your feet. Puddle to pond to rink. Then one day, you find you're up to your waist in it. If being in it buys one more day on top of it, fill up the tub. Fill up the tub.
Come on, Skunky, Skunky.
He was in my garage drinking paint.
Get in here. I'm sorry. This is not going to happen again. Come on. You can do this.
They've been called a dream team.
You look like the son of Ringo Starr and Phyllis Dillon.
A gas to watch.
You never did any shoplifting in your life?
I'd be surprised next year if he did play.
It's easier for Mike Tyson to find a place to fight than it is for Trent Dilfer to find a place to play football.
This is the best show on television.
Tony Kornheiser, Michael Wilbon.
Sports and other stuff.
Pardon the interruption. 5:30 Eastern weekdays on ESPN. And again at 7 on ESPN2.
11:04 to go in the first half here from Bloomington. 18-5. Hoosiers on top of the Cats as they try to get back in the win column. And Kyle Hornsby's had the hot hand early. Of course.
He came out ready to shoot. Stepped right up to the spot he wanted. Makes that one. He's getting involved in the offense. This one more on the move. But he's got 2 3-pointers already.
2 for 3 shooting. 2 for 2 from behind the arc after going 0 for 8 from behind the arc in Columbus on Saturday night. There's the numbers, 0 for 9 overall. And any correlation there? Last time he was shut out, they lost to Wisconsin.
That was a home game here at Assembly Hall last year. Not really, although it sure does help when a guy can get 3 or 4 of those to go in.
Haley thought about it for a second. T.J. Parker's having a hard time finding his shot. So he's quick as a cat. About an inch smaller than his brother who plays in the NBA. Tim Young had the open look, and it won't go down. When Northwestern, 202 threes a couple of years ago, 209 last year. For the last 4 games, they're really struggling from behind the arc. Northwestern. Before Bill Carmody arrived, they were 5-25, 0-16 in the Big Ten. Burke from behind the arc, you can count that one. So Jason Burke, the 6'8 senior now with 6 points.
Good shot there. He's had 29 points in his last 3 games, so he's on a hot streak. Got to build his confidence. 6'8 senior from Plano, Texas.
Getting back to Carmody, he was 0-16, 3-13, and then 7-9 in Big Ten play. Coverdale rattles in, rattles out. That bucket would have pushed him over the 1,000-point barrier. Cats 16-13 last year. Most wins since 1983. I thought maybe they'd get in the NIT. I was kind of disappointed when they didn't taste some postseason play.
Now, Bill Carmody's done a nice job getting this program where he wants it now in his 3rd year. He's got some good young talent, and Parker right there with the ball. And Maley 6'6" kid on the outside.
Burke a little bit too strong. Jatim Young goes high for the offensive rebound. Mike Davis over on the sideline, getting in the air. Phil Bova. Not sure if Jatim Young, or in his eyes, he thought Young went over the back of Coverdale.
George Leach is out of the lineup for Indiana. Sean Klein, the 6'8" freshman, in. So Indiana loses some height with that substitution.
Working that perimeter. Few looks inside. Down to 10. Jennings. That's a three. His 15th. He has taken the lead nationally for three-pointers over Rick Rickard now for 6'11" players or taller.
They give him some time out there, and he can make it. The first one, he seemed a little hurried. That one, he had more time, and very confident in that shot.
You see the second chance points. Coverdale misfires. Hoosiers once led 11-0. Now it's a 7-point game, 18-11. Newton. Marshall Strickland. That's a three for the rookie.
See, the difference here, as opposed to Saturday, Northwestern's packing that zone into the foul lane, and then the pass comes out. Those three-point shooters are open and have time to shoot. Ohio State played it closer to the line, left the middle open, but Indiana still tried to take it from the three-point shot.
In style of Bill Carmody said they went to three guys, specifically three guys, to get it done down the stretch, and no one delivered. So in other words, still looking for that go-to guy. Give and go. Parker. So T.J. Parker now with his second bucket. He has 4, and it's 21-13, back to 8.
Northwestern set the offense very high that time. Jennings way up by the three-point line, and that prevents the help that Indiana likes to use on the man-to-man defense. So once Parker broke through, he was open for the layup.
Sean Klein, that's a 2. But most importantly, he's back on the floor after logging no minutes in Columbus on Saturday.
And Mike Davis wants him to work harder in practice. Shows some desire. He sat the entire Ohio State game out. But here he comes in the first half and right away gets a shot away.
And Davis said earlier in the year, too, that that was one of the keys. Of course, he said Leach and Newton have to have good years or great years. If they play good, we'll be good. If they play great, we'll be great. But also Roberts and Klein have to get productive minutes when they're on the floor. The bottom line is they got to get on the floor. 6:53 to go in the first half. Marshall Strickland joins the three-point barrage.
The games that became classics. The athletes that became legends. The moments that became history. They're all on ESPN Classic. Explore the best in sports history through programs that take you inside the game, the life, the moment like no one else can. Call your cable or satellite provider and experience ESPN Classic.
You know, we at ESPN were always complaining about how there weren't any good places for sports fans to eat.
Look, it's a hairnet, it's the law, all right?
So we opened ESPN Zone. Non-stop sports coverage. Tons of cool games. And really terrific food.
He got it. She got it. They got it.
But really, ESPN Zone's a place where everybody, even grandma, can let loose. Booyah! Have fun.
The ESPN.com players.
Let's talk about sports.
Gosh, Bob, sports talk is so darn serious.
Sports are serious, yes.
I know a place where sports aren't so serious.
Where's that?
Page 2 at ESPN.com. Page 2 is full of columns about the funny stuff in sports. Hey, where are you going?
Home. I don't want page 2 to be the one that got away.
10-point ball game from Bloomington. Hoosiers 23-13 on top of the Wildcats of Northwestern. I guess if a coach is looking for intensity, it starts on the defensive end a lot of times. Huh?
You don't hate to give up that 50% shooting. You can see at Ohio State Saturday, that's what Indiana did. Indiana prides itself with the defense. Only give up 42% to their opponent, just 27% from the three-point line.
Saw that graphic there last the Kentucky game. I remember that one well.
Well, when a team shoots 68% against you, you're really in trouble.
There's not a whole lot you can do, and the team's on fire. You just kind of sit back and hope they cool off. And you can make a little run, huh? Donald Perry on the court. In the backcourt with Coverdale and Strickland. And Leach and Sean Klein on the block against this matchup zone of Northwestern's. Two on the shot clock. Strickland with the runner, and Blake. Foul on the ball. We're at Assembly Hall in Bloomington, the home of the Indiana Hoosiers, alongside former Hoosier John Laskowski. I'm Mike Gleason. And it's great to have you with us tonight. You see the sea of red. Good shot there of Assembly Hall, one of the great basketball courts in America.
Good defense that time by Northwestern. They forced Indiana down to 2 seconds. Strickland had to take a drive to the hoop, fortunate to draw that foul and get some free throws.
Strickland went up 2, 4 points now, and 24-13. Spread is 11 favoring Indiana. Jennings looking for Maley, and Maley pulls the trigger. A little bit too strong, and there's the reach. Goes on Jason Burke. That's his second already. He's the leading scorer tonight for the Cats with 6.
Well, Maley can make that shot. He hit 5 against Kansas State. Burke a little aggressive there on that rebound. Right now, Bill Carmody's going to keep him in there.
Tom Coverdale hit that early 3. Hasn't scored since. 10 on the shot clock. A little spin by Coverdale. That's the game that Indiana fans know so well. He loves to use that arm on that spin.
He got in there, but Maley at 6'6" bothered him a little bit with his height. Coverdale missed the shot.
Just joined us, Gracie Wright, of course, could become the 6th Hoosier rookie to lead the team in scoring, but not playing tonight. There's a rejection. And Mr. Leach. That's his 43rd block already this year.
His timing's improved over his career, and he loves to swat that ball away. Watch him now. Sees Jennings coming in, times it, sneaks up from behind to avoid the foul, and slaps it out of bounds.
And of course, Mike Davis addressed that too. He's, the fans love the block, and a block can alter so many offensive weapons. But Mike Davis was saying, position basketball sometimes is better than the block. Burke with an open look, and the senior, a little bit too strong. Klein comes up with a long rebound. Hoosiers very quickly down courts, and very quickly Strickland gets his 6th point.
Faded away a little bit, but it's a good shot, about 14 feet. Marshall not afraid to take that shot. With Gracie Wright out, that's given Donald Perry and Marshall Strickland some more minutes to show what they can do.
Strickland, one of the prize rookies here at Indiana, shooting at 46% from three-point territory, 44% from the field. Inside 5 minutes, 26-13, Indiana on top. Burke, take it inside this time. Jennings will have the open look. He has one of those, and that's his second 3. So all 6 of his points come from behind the arc.
Now see, Leach went down the lane that time to try to help on the block shot. But that left Jennings wide open. He's hit 2 3-pointers now.
Cats now 6 for 20 as you saw. There's the reach in the paint. And if it goes against Burke, that's going to be his 3rd.
Well, not a very good foul. It was just a pass coming into the lane. And Burke is going to pick up his 3rd. So they'll go out. Haley comes in.
So Jason Burke playing in his 97th game as a Wildcat. Winston Blake and Aaron Jennings hit 100 last week against Iowa. Kyle Hornsby checking back in for Mike Davis, and Tom Coverdale will take a breather on that Indiana bench. So Coverdale with 18 points, 6 assists against the Buckeyes. Mike Davis not happy the fact that Brent Darby lit up Indiana for 28. Some of these freshmen there, you see Maley, Bill Carmody really impressed with some of the freshmen, especially their attitude. But right now the attitude is with Indiana as Strickland knocks down 2 more of the 26.
a ride, Beamer.
Anytime, Scott. See you.
Hey, Chris, how you doing, man?
Righty.
Number 84, how you doing?
Man.
TJ, how you doing, pal?
Good to see you.
Bill Parcells. Kind of a bummer, huh? You leave New England, Patriots win the Super Bowl. Ouch, that hurts.
I'll see you guys later.
Yeah. Good to see you. Good job, boy.
Sunday NFL Countdown, 11 a.m. on ESPN.
Barry Bonds will go down in history as the best baseball player
Women
ever.
have better
Golf
golf.
is not a sport.
America finally accepts soccer.
Hockey in June.
Right now, not much.
Does anyone else find
You know,
it's a
sad
The Eagles will win this year's Super Bowl.
You start to care more about the game than the
of his
$250 million salary. The line between college and professional sports is becoming dangerously blurred.
Just because you were once an all-star doesn't mean you're qualified to run for office.
Back in Assembly Hall, 10-point ball game favoring the Hoosiers. To get information on your favorite Big Ten team, go online at www.big10.org for all the basketball and conference news from around the Big Ten Conference. 4 schools sharing the Big Ten title last year, and Laz, I think it's going to be the same type of script coming up here in 2003. I don't know about 4, but I think it's going to go down to the wire.
It's always an interesting league, and some surprises always happen. Those yet to be determined.
Hornsby, oh, he felt it. He thought about it, and he said, why not? That's his 3rd 3.
I'd say he's back with hitting 3 first-half three-point shots.
Blake misfires. They say Winston Blake, for a senior, he's interesting considering the fact that he led this team in scoring 2 years in a row. If he hits his first shot, he knows he's going to have a big night. If he doesn't hit his first couple of shots, he kind of climbs up. There's some traveling music on the freshman.
Well, that's the same with a lot of players. He's really struggled. Just 6 of 37 from the three-point line his last 6 games. So Blake's trying to get that going better.
There you go, Laz. Another milestone for Jeff Newton.
A lot of rebounds, 600.
Inside to Tim Young, uses his body well, scores the bucket, goes to the line for a chance for a 3-point play. We talked at the top of the broadcast, Young and Jennings averaging 15 over the last 4 games. That's the first bucket for Tim Young.
Almost 12 points a game. He's 3rd in the league in steals as well, so his defense is right there. Good score.
6'2" junior out of Chicago. And he misses the chance for a 3-point play, and another rebound for Mr. Newton.
Good ball movement there. That quick pass will get an open shot.
29-18. TJ Parker trying to get something going for the Cats. You know, considering the way the game started. Big Mo definitely on Indiana's side. 29-18 isn't that bad right now as far as the situation for Northwestern. Young tried to explode into the lane. There's the whistle. Said Rhoda Heffer blowing the whistle up top, and Tom Coverdale checking back in now for Mike Davis's Hoosiers. And Strickland goes out.
Well, Northwestern's a very patient team. They like to work the shot clock a long time, make you play a lot of defense, and they do a good job themselves on defense. They like a low-scoring game, and so they don't defer from their game plan at all, regardless of what the score is. And you can see it's an 11-point game where it was really a bigger lead for Indiana. You'd think it'd be a runaway, but Northwestern can always come back. They have in their first 2 ball games in the Big Ten this year.
Well, that last shot by Winston Blake was way off the mark. Hornsby, 3 for 3, make it 4 for 4. Bill Carmody not happy. Guys hit 3 threes, and he got an open look like that.
Well, from the exact same spot, Indiana's averaging 9 made 3-point shots per game. They've got 6 already here in the first half.
Hoosiers 25% on Saturday in Columbus, 50% from behind the arc. Nice touch off the glass by Jennings.
It's a nice move. Went into the lane and came back, a little drop step, and the old-fashioned hook shot got it over Leach.
Well, Tom Coverdale said after the Buckeye game Saturday, the team lacked heart. As Newton takes it strong to the hole, And if I was a player and you were one, that would hurt if the leader says we lack heart. You would hate to hear those words.
Well, those are the kind of things that don't take any talent. You just show up, play hard, inspire your teammates, and any player can do that regardless of what his jump shot looks like. And you're right. You hate to hear a coach talk about that. But the key then is, does the team react once the coach does say that? And if some guys have to sit on the bench to get that message, well, that may be what has to happen. And the next time they come out, is there a difference in the style of play they use?
Well, Mike Davis just saw Jeff Newton score his first points.
Can't ever tell how a game's going. Look at a coach on the bench. Indiana's up 13 points. Mike Davis has his arms crossed, a stern look. They can never enjoy a lead until the game's over. It's an unfortunate position to be in as a coach.
Jennings, he's knocked down a couple of threes. Probably had a look that time, but Leach was coming up strong. Down to 10 again on the shot clock for the Cats. 1:10 to go in the first. Parker slices through high off the window and not quite high enough. Nice move by the freshman, but just couldn't execute. Inside a minute now. Hoosiers by 14. Good look, and it's stripped. It goes out of bounds. Good defensive move that time by Tim Young. Preventing the easy bucket by Jeff Newton.
30-second timeout was called by Indiana.
Indiana calls the 30-second timeout, so we'll keep it right here. 34-20. Indiana 11-3, 1-1 in the Big Ten. And up next for the Hoosiers, a big game coming up Saturday. I'd pay for this one.
Yeah, Illinois comes in, 4 o'clock tip. And both those teams figure to place high in the Big Ten. It's an early showdown. Illinois still undefeated in Big Ten play.
And if you want some payback, you don't have to wait very long for the Buckeyes to come into Assembly Hall.
Ohio State comes in on Tuesday, and Indiana wants to see how they can improve their game from the defeat last Saturday.
And, of course, that at Purdue will be part of a triple header from ESPN Plus on Saturday the 25th. And for the Cats, they're home against Michigan. And they travel to Minnesota. Going up to Minneapolis, that's a tough game for anyone.
Sure is, and then at Wisconsin, at Ohio State.
A lot of ats, huh? A lot of road games there.
It's going to come back, but you hate to see them all in a row.
Inside, Leach, stripped by Maley. Loose ball, good hustle by Leach, calls the timeout. 42.4 on the clock.
But just 12 seconds on the shot clock. The reason Mike Davis called the first timeout was to set up some plays, even though the game isn't close at 14 points now and not a critical time to run a play. There could be a time when that's important, and that's what he wants to go over.
Bill Carmody, you talk about the job he's done since coming over from Princeton. Went 7-9 in the Big Ten last year, their first 7-win season since the 83-84 campaign. But the thing that jumps off the page, Laz, since they ended that 32-game losing streak, and I don't think a lot of Big Ten fans realize this, since they snapped the skid, Carmody is 10-13 in Big Ten play since. That's impressive.
That shows you what a great coach he is. He's got a very unique system with the matchup zone, the patient offense, now with the three-point shot. He's able to use that as well, and he keeps using that game after game, gets these kids to understand that. And 10-13, very impressive after losing 32 straight.
And I have to go up front and admit I did not know that. And when I saw that earlier today doing my homework, I tried it on 4 different people here in Assembly Hall. And all 4 of them were surprised to hear that. 10-13 since snapping that 32-game skid.
He's a great coach.
42 seconds to go in the first half. Indiana basketball. Coverdale is thinking about the spin, but first a reach by the freshman T.J. Parker. Or did they give it on Parker? Regardless, Coverdale's going to the line.
Change that to Maley. Picks up that foul. Coverdale has the 1-1.
And Coverdale misses the front end, which would have given a membership in the 1,000-point club in Indiana. So that goes on hold again with 30 seconds to go in the first half.
A 3-second difference on the shot clock. Northwestern try to run it down as far as they can.
To Tim Young with the reverse, and he is fouled.
Personal foul, Indiana, number 5, George Leach.
So Leach commits his first, and Tim Young will go to the line shooting 2 with exactly 15 seconds to go.
Covered it, went for the steal, couldn't get it, so Leach had to come over to help. You see, he fouled him there. As he thought Tim Young was going to go up on the first side there on the rim, and he reversed him. Tried to use the rim to help block the shot, so Leach had to make the foul.
Young started 30 games as a rookie 2 years ago, tied a freshman record at Northwestern. Winston Blake coming in for the final 15 seconds. Bailey goes out. Young averaging 12. He has 3 so far. MVP of the 5-star camp back in 1999. Young knocks down his 4th point. Back to a 12-point game, 34-22. And there's a steal by Parker with 10 seconds to go. Winston Blake looking for Young. Young with the fade. A little bit too soft, and the rebound comes out to Indiana. So a missed opportunity for the Cats. Final shot. And Donald Perry doesn't go down. 20 minutes into the books. Your thought. 34-22. Indiana's Mike Davis taking his time heading for the locker room. Maybe not quite content with the intensity factor. 34-22, Indiana at the half.
Racy. Racy.
What?
What's the story? How about a little hustle?
How about taking it easy?
You think the world revolves around you?
I got a lot of teeth to brush.
You're another pampered athlete. That's... Wally, no! No! Zerbiak, get out here.
There's a line.
Be there for the three-pointers, the in-your-face dunks, and the spectacular buzzer beaters. With the ESPN Full Court College Basketball Pay-Per-View package, you get maximum college basketball with more than 450 additional games from top conferences and coverage of the first 2 rounds of the NCAA Women's Tournament. Will you be there? The ESPN Full Court College Basketball Pay-Per-View package. To order, call your local cable company, DirecTV at 1-800-DirecTV or Dish Network at 1-800-333-DISH.
The games that became classics. The athletes that became legends. The moments that became history. They're all on ESPN Classic. Explore the best in sports history through programs that take you inside the game, the life, the moment like no one else can. Call your cable or satellite provider and experience ESPN Classic.
It's halftime in Assembly Hall. There's the numbers after 20 minutes as Northwestern shoots for their first Big Ten victory. Indiana tries to go to 2-1. Now let's go inside the Big Ten. But Steve Alford's Iowa Hawkeyes may be the surprise team in the Big Ten. When Reggie Evans and Luke Recker left, so did a majority of their offense. But senior Chauncey Leslie has stepped up his play, averaging 17 points a game. And freshman Jeff Horner and Greg Bruner have stepped in and made immediate impacts. Junior Glenn Worley, a local product, had a career-high 29 points in the upset Saturday against Michigan State. Worley thinks this is just the beginning.
I think this team is going to give 100% the whole time. And, I think we're just looking out there, itching to get out there because everyone's down on us right now. And I think, that adversity is going to make this team a lot closer and a lot better.
And the Iowa Hawkeyes in the Fighting Illini of Illinois will play in Iowa City, 9 o'clock Eastern, 8 o'clock Central Time tonight. It's halftime, 34-22. George Leach and company on top.
When I do right.
On ESPN Classic, remember how perfect we can be.
Nicholas hit a tee shot that only gravity kept on this planet.
Discover.
It wasn't that Cal Ripken didn't get hurt. He was hurt all the time.
How human we really are.
There were times where I didn't think I was going to be able to walk again.
These are their stories. This is the award-winning Sports Century, 8 p.m. weeknights on ESPN Classic. Get ESPN Classic. Call your local cable or satellite provider now.
The ESPN.com players.
Where's the cab?
should be right here.
It looks like you got the wrong information.
Now when it comes to sports, because I got Insider on ESPN.com. I get exclusive news first, then in-depth analysis, and 300 links to sports stories.
300 lanes.
I guess Insider is a mountain of information.
Every Sunday on ESPN Classic, the greatest movies.
Would you like to play football with us inmates? We're going to play the guards.
About the greatest sports.
In my book, we're going to be winners.
Plus, you get real stories from real people.
I was playing for all the kids who never played.
Real actors with real moments.
The crew actually blew the tape because they started giggling.
Real classics where the world of sports and movies collide. Every Sunday night at 9 Eastern, only on ESPN Classic.
Can't imagine how big that was for Canada to win that gold medal. And we waited a long time, and now after 50 years, that the gold medal's back. So that's
Tell me
great.
something. What kind of cheese you got there?
What kind of cheese?
Yeah, what kind of cheese?
American.
That's right. American cheese.
Yeah, American
cheese. American cheese.
You know, we at ESPN were always complaining about how there weren't any good places for sports fans to eat.
Look, it's a hairnet, it's the law, all right?
So we opened ESPN Zone. Non-stop sports coverage. Tons of cool games. And really terrific food.
He got it. She got it. They got it.
But really, ESPN Zone's a place where everybody, even Grandma, can let loose. Booyah! Have fun.
Indiana Hoosiers with 6 threes in the first 20 minutes of play. They lead at halftime over the Cats, 34-22. Now we pause for this word from Indiana University.
These brothers make games. These brothers got game. And while one of them is making a name for himself in the NBA, the other is off to a fast start in the Big Ten. The very quick T.J. Parker. Meet Northwestern standout freshman T.J. Parker. Parker's basketball pedigree includes a father who logged 15 years of pro basketball in Europe, and a brother, Tony, who made last year's NBA All-Rookie team while playing for the San Antonio Spurs. You might say this family has a monopoly on hoops talent.
Yeah, I think you have to be careful of comparing them to the older brother or the father or this sibling or that sibling. And TJ's just a very good player, and no doubt the genes, the DNA have something to do with it. But he's gotten where he is because he's worked hard. TJ is the younger player in the Parker brothers game, and growing up with Tony did nothing to risk TJ's development.
I beat him once or twice, you know. There was a couple of games he didn't want to play defense, you know. He said, oh, you can't shoot, and that day it was on, so I beat him that time.
The heated matchups in the Parker backyard have helped make TJ one of several highly touted freshmen making an immediate impact around the Big Ten.
Playing against a brother who's only a few years older than you certainly toughens you up, and he got in games that he probably wouldn't have gotten in because his brother was in there. He wouldn't have continued to be able to get into those games unless he could hold his own, and he has.
As TJ works hard to follow in his brother's footsteps, his Big Ten foes are starting to take notice. The Wildcat faithful hope the rest of the nation soon gets their own clue as to how good the younger Parker brother can be.
There's always going to be people saying, like, oh, you're never going to be as good as your brother, but I don't listen to those people, you know. I just play as hard as I can and trying to get there too.
athletics education. Indiana University is part of that effort.
In order to help Hoosier school children improve their math skills, IU faculty have embarked on several projects actually aimed at school teachers. 2 grants totaling more than $7 million will allow IU faculty to work with elementary and secondary teachers. One project will develop new teaching materials. Another project provides teachers ongoing professional education using distance learning tools.
Do you remember this man? Phil Trinter played football at IU 10 years ago. Today he is still competing, but in a different sport. Trinter is now a member of the Oracle racing team. He's in New Zealand tonight trying to help his team qualify for the America's Cup, the world's most prestigious sailboat competition. How about this former Hoosier? Dane Fife helped Indiana go to the NCAA Finals last year. This year he's a professional playing in the Continental Basketball League. Fife was this year's #1 draft pick by the Gary, Indiana Steelheads. Gina Finlinson is a senior on the IU women's golf team. She's played golf all over the world. She's also a former world horseback champion, and she's a member of the Professional Rodeo Association. And here's another lady Hoosier to watch, if you can catch her. Danielle Crothers is a 3-year All-American sprinter who was invited to the World Games this year and may be headed to the Summer Olympics in 2004.
If we went too fast for you, that's okay. You can find all of tonight's news and more on our webpage at broadcast.iu.edu. I'm Sandy Mathis-Robe for Indiana University. Quality education, lifetime opportunities.
Bang for the buck.
These girls can sing. Wow, it's a great time. These girls look good.
Great time, you enjoy it.
He's excited.
20 minutes to go. Indiana on top. George Leach leads the Big Ten in rejections. There's his one and only block of the day, but the Hoosiers by 12.
Hey, can you guys give me a hand? Sure. Yeah. Hey, Corey, can you help me? Yeah. Let's go. Hey, can you guys help me for a second?
Aldridge, what are we doing? You know where he's going? Kenyon, what are we doing?
I blew a fuse in my room.
What? Hey, you ain't blew a fuse.
What? It's scary down here.
Ridiculous, man. This is stupid. Don't let them waste your time. Don't close the door. Get me out of here.
Ice. It starts out under your feet. Puddle to pond to rink. Then one day, you find you're up to your waist in it. If being in it buys one more day on top of it, fill up the tub. Fill up the tub.
I'm Max Kellerman. I want to tell you about my new show, Around the Horn. The idea is simple. People here think the people here don't know anything about sports. And the people here hate all the teams from here. Around the Horn is going to bring sports experts from here, and here together in a daily discussion about who's better than who and who knows more. And I'm keeping score.
Around the Horn, a full-contact sports show. Weekdays at 5 Eastern on ESPN.
34-22 alongside John Laskowski. I'm Mike Gleason. And Laz, Phil Carmody thought they'd have to hit some shots. If they have a chance to win, they'd have to do something in the paint. Indiana's controlling the glass, and well, the Cats aren't hitting their shots.
Right, Mike Davis got his team ready to go. The 11-0 lead has been the difference here. A good start, but Northwestern made a nice comeback, started making some of their shots. We'll see how they do in the second half.
All right, buddy, take us through the first half.
Well, for Northwestern, here's the nice give-and-go move that Northwestern likes to run. That's T.J. Parker, their freshman point guard. And then Aaron Jennings can make this shot from the outside. This time he gets set. He had 2 of those in the first half. Back cut. Parker gets the shot, and Newton couldn't get the block. For Indiana, they love the three-point shot. Coverdale hits one there. They don't worry about where the line is. Hornsby comes off a pick. He hits one there, and here's one he makes from even farther away. Nothing to it.
What line, huh? There's a line?
Here's the one that was way outside. Marshall Strickland hits that one.
And the numbers after the first 20, Indiana 22-10 on the glass.
Now look at the field goals. Indiana's up to 50%, and then the rebounding 22-9, a big difference inside. 6 3-point shots made for Indiana, just 3 for Northwestern.
And the leading scorers in the first half of the ball game, 6 threes. Well, Mr. Hornsby, 4 threes. And Jennings with 8 points. He has a couple of threes himself.
Rated E for everyone. This is what it feels like when I start draining threes.
This is what you'll see when you bring it in my lane.
This is what it feels like to be dunked on.
This is what it feels like to play in the NBA.
NBA 2K3.
Hey, Sterling, you remember that thing we were talking about yesterday?
What thing were we talking about?
You know, if you were still playing, Brian Urlacher.
Well, yeah, he's kind of small and kind of slow.
Exactly. What was that you were talking about?
Well, I'd say I'd either run by him or run over him.
What's your name again?
It's my name, Sterling Sharp.
Sterling Sharp, that's what I thought.
Hey, wait a second. Hey, wait, you can't use... That was a figure of speech. Wait up, man. Show me some love.
Sunday NFL Countdown, 11 a.m. on ESPN.
The games that became classics. The athletes that became legends. The moments that became history. They're all on ESPN Classic. Explore the best in sports history through programs that take you inside the game, the life, the moment like no one else can. Call your cable or satellite provider and experience ESPN Classic.
Tracy. Tracy.
What?
What's the story? How about a little hustle?
How about taking it easy?
You think the world revolves around you?
I got a lot of teeth to brush.
You're another pampered athlete. That's... Wally, no! No! Zerbiak! Zerbiak, get out here!
Who's the line?
.12-point ball game. We're ready to roll into the second half as Jatim Young will inbound at the center court here from Assembly Hall, and the second half is underway. 34-22. The Cats come in averaging about 62 points a game, giving up 59, which is number 2 in the Big Ten. They led the Big Ten last year, giving up 59 points a game. And the Hoosiers, of course, averaging 75, giving up 67. And again, good looks. Hard to come by here early in the second half. Parker. Cats 5 of the top 7 players returning this year, but Bill Carmody said depth still a problem. Parker gets the long rebound off the miss by Jennings.
Well, Leach likes to get in there for the rebound, so he left Jennings when the ball got inside. And let a nice outlet pass, got Jennings an open 3-point shot.
Duwancic looking for Parker, and Duwancic throws it away. A.J. Moye getting the starts in this ball game as Gracie Wrights, the leading scorer on the basketball team, not playing so far tonight as Newton gets his second bucket.
Mike Newton was looking to make that pass on the cut by Leach, but when the Northwestern players also thought he would make it, they dropped off, gave him an open shot.
So Jim Young trying to find that opening. Burke deep in the corner. There's the whistle, and it goes against Hornsby.
It's a good shot fake by Young. It gives up a little height to Hornsby, and so the shot fake comes right into play. Not shooting, so it's out of bounds to Northwestern.
Jason Burke said goal at Northwestern no different than anyone else in the country. Want to earn a spot in the big dance, and everyone on this basketball team believes the goal can be achieved. Cats come in at 8-5. Close games in the Big Ten with Iowa and Purdue. Jatim Young with the left hand. So Jatim Young has 6 now.
I'll tell you, great pass by Jennings. Kind of a one-handed softball bounce pass. I don't know how he got it through there. but very difficult to make. But when it does work, it's an easy layup.
Hornsby with the look, 4 for 4 in the first half with threes. School record, 5 for 5 held by Hornsby and Keith Smart. Hornsby picked up by Parker with the runner. He's got it. Oh, that's a 2.
And a steal. Coverdale with the pressure knocks the ball loose.
And the crowd pleaser, backdoor cut. Newton thought he was going to jam it, but the most important thing is goes down. Indiana has their largest lead at 40-24.
Now Coverdale all hustle there as he stripped that ball away from Northwestern, saved it from going out of bounds. Hornsby finally catches up with it. Newton gets the 2.
Laz, did someone say that Hornsby was 0 for 9 against the Buckeyes?
I think it was you.
Jennings with the turn. It's rejected by Leach.
But that's the way a shooter's day goes. And you know he's a good shooter. He's not going to go 0 for 9 very often.
Hits another one. That's a 3. 5 for 5 now. 17 points for Hornsby. Hornsby, 17 points, 5 threes. Coverdale, 7 assists this year. Ties his high against Temple.
ESPN's NFL Primetime. The whole day in football packed into one show.
Oh, that wacky AFC. And he gets in.
Chris Berman and Tom Jackson. All the score, stats, and highlights.
He could go off the way.
Every game, every finish.
This is a ball club with great balance.
If you missed it, if you saw it, if you just gotta see it again.
And he makes the catch.
Wow. NFL Primetime, 7:30 Eastern, Sundays on ESPN.
Now, your first source for round-the-clock sports news is even better. The new ESPN News. A brand new look with the enhanced bottom line that's always on and lets you know what's ahead. Constant score updates and live in-game stats. Highlights, news conferences, analysis, and more. The new ESPN News is here.
On ESPN Classic, remember how perfect we can be.
Nicholas hit a tee shot that only gravity kept on this planet.
Discover
It wasn't that Cal Ripken didn't get hurt. He was hurt all the time.
how human we really are.
There were times where I didn't think I was going to be able to walk again.
These are their stories. This is the award-winning Sports Century, 8 p.m. weeknights on ESPN Classic. Get ESPN Classic. Call your local cable or satellite provider now.
16:51 to go in the ball game. 43-24. There's been an infusion of electricity, Laz, in this building.
Watch Coverdale. He gets him going with the steal, hustles. Can't come up with it, but there's Hornsby who saw that Cov was going to come up with it. He wanted to slow it down. Coverdale wanted to throw a high lob pass. And Newton, a little soft touch there for a basket.
The operative word being soft, but Newton now with 6, 43-24. Hornsby, 5 for 5. Burke knocks down another 3, so Jason Burke with his second 3 of the night. He has 9, and it's 43-27.
Well, a 9-2 run by Indiana to start the half, so Bill Carmody, a good time out there. And this gets Northwestern a 3-point shot.
Hoosiers 28-3 in Assembly Hall all time. Cats have never experienced a victory here in Assembly Hall. Last touched by Northwestern. It remains Indiana basketball. Hoosiers went to Columbus, first road game in the Big Ten of the year. Lost to the Buckeyes. Mike Davis saying he wasn't happy with the intensity or the leadership from anyone. Not just Tom Coverdale, but Tom Coverdale in the paper took the brunts of the head coach's dismay. Indiana right now up 43-27. Northwestern only 5 turnovers in the ball game, but struggling with that outside shot. Burke has a couple. Jennings has a couple.
It's Indiana's good shooting that's been the difference in the game. Northwestern's not just hand the ball over to them.
Duancic, 5 players with international flavor on this team. Duancic travel the basketball. And we're going to take a timeout. 15:29 to go in the ball game. Number 17 Indiana, 43-27 on top of Northwestern.
I can't believe this is 17 years of NFL coverage.
Hey, are you ready for this? Ready for what? What?
17 years. Boy, it's Huey Lewis.
Sunday NFL Countdown, 11 a.m. on ESPN.
You know, we at ESPN were always complaining about how there weren't any good places for sports fans to eat.
Look, it's a hairnet, it's the law, all right?
So we opened ESPN Zone. Non-stop sports coverage. Tons of cool games. And really terrific food.
He got it. She got it. They got it.
But really, ESPN Zone's a place where everybody, even grandma, can let loose. Booyah! Have fun.
Can't imagine how big that was for Canada to win that gold medal. And we waited a long time, and now after 50 years, that the gold medal's back. So it's
Tell me
great.
something. What kind of cheese you got there?
What kind of cheese?
Yeah, what kind of cheese?
American.
That's right. American cheese.
American
cheese. American cheese.
43-29. Little run by the 17th ranked Hoosiers, opening up some breathing room on the Cats. Let's check some other scores around the country. Number 1 Duke in Virginia, 53-49 in the second half. Well, last Duke continues to surprise me as they continue to. They have Maryland coming up though on Sunday.
Good one.
How about Anthony Roberson hit that big shot for Florida on Saturday, a step back 3 to win it. Roberson, of course, out of Saginaw. I'm sure Tom Izzo and Tommy Amaker would have loved to have him. Coverdale. Big game. He had 5 rebounds, 7 assists at the break. Still only 3 points, though. Good lead by Newton. And ill-advised pass looking for Leach coming down the lane.
They got double teamed and hoped somebody was open. He didn't really see Leach was open, and the pass easily stole.
I mentioned before that Bill Carmody with 7 Americans on his roster. Lead off because he has a heavy flavor of international players. He just lost one. Thomas Salto, a 6'11 sophomore from Denmark, went back to Denmark to play his basketball. Young, nice pass. Young with the left hand. He has a
quick move. He beat Coverdale down the lane, and then again used the reverse layup to get the shot in.
Coverdale with the look. It rattles out. The stick back doesn't go by Newton, and it's finally pulled down by Jennings. So Coverdale with 18.6 assists against the Buckeyes on Saturday. 3 points. He was 1 of 5 shooting the first half, but again at the break, 7 assists, 5 rebounds. So he's getting it done in different areas. John Klein coming back in. Bill Carmody once had a 19 and a 20 game winning streak at Princeton.
Slap by A.J. Moye. But that's the effort he's looking for. Moye can bring that.
Mr. Spark, huh?
He is, too. Real bubbly personality, I guess is the best way to say it.
Burke explodes down on the baseline. Klein comes up with it. Now, obviously, you'd like to have a healthy Gracie Wright, but a guy like A.J. Moye, is he more productive coming off the bench to give you that spark?
Well, I think most players like to start. A.J., because of his position, has been coming off the bench. This time he got a chance to start, picked up 2 quick fouls. So he wasn't really used to being in the starting lineup, but it seems to be calmed down now. And this will be a big game for him. Gets a lot of minutes. Proved to Mike Davis that he wants to be in this lineup.
It really is a big difference, though, huh? When you're used to coming off the bench and supplying the spark, and all of a sudden you're starting.
Yeah, I think so. He was a little over-aggressive to start today's game.
I know some pretty good players that actually enjoy coming off the bench. They take a couple of minutes and eye up the situation. They play differently when they start. Coverdale with the fake. Hornsby thought about it for a second. Coverdale has the look, so he might as well take it. He is now a new member of the 1,000-point club in Indiana.
Well, fittingly on a three-point shot, because that's what folks here at Indiana remember him by. He nails the three to go over 1,000 points.
37th member of that Indiana club. To Tim Young off the dribble, but the whistle before the shot.
Personal foul is Indiana, number 3, John Coverdale.
So Coverdale with the Steve Wilmer went up to the scoring table, but gave him the old forearm. But here's 159 now in his career.
Newton with the nice assist there. You see Hornsby started the play. He faked the shot. He drew the Northwestern defense because he's been so high. That frees up a teammate.
Yeah, he couldn't have been more open than he was that time. Oh, Bill Carmody's going to take a timeout and talk things over, trailing 46-29. It's a 30-second timeout. So Bill Carmody's had 5 different players to lead the team in scoring this year. Right now, looking for somebody to step up on the offensive end. No one in double figures yet for the Cats. Burke has 9, Young has 8, Jennings has 8, but Jennings yet to score in the second half. And join us Saturday, noon Eastern, 11 Central, as Wooly Dean and the Boilermakers take on Jerry Dunn and the Nittany Lions. Then at 2 Eastern, 1 Central, it's the red-hot Michigan Wolverines taking on these Northwestern Wildcats. Action you won't want to miss, only from ESPN+. Studio starts at 12 noon Eastern. 46-29. Of course, Indiana taking on Illinois at 4 o'clock Eastern here from Bloomington on Saturday afternoon.
We'd love to have you out on the field, Mike, but you do a great job on that studio show, hosting all the games. Love to get all the information you provide.
Appreciate that. A lot of triple headers this year, Lance. Matter of fact, next week your Hoosiers will be supplying half of the third game against Purdue. That'll be a big game next Saturday in West Lafayette.
Even the fans get good scouting reports as the next opponent comes up when you have that triple header.
It's a lot of basketball. DJ Parker, kind of an unorthodox shot, but he knocks down the 3.
He spent a lot of time in France growing up, just his last 2 years here in Illinois in high school before coming to Northwestern. His left hand is what's funny. We'll take a look at that shot again. It's curled, and most American players will shoot that ball with that left hand straight. It's a very interesting shot we saw in the shoot-around today.
4-3 for the Cats. They came in with 88. Oh. Well, Sid Rodeheffer was right on top of that one. As Jeff Newton gives a little extra backside as he was getting his position for the shot. Well, Mike Davis didn't see anything wrong with it. DJ Parker, let's take a look at that 3 that Laz talked about. Watch his left hand. Parker with his first 3. 46-32 Indiana.
Be there for the three-pointers, the in-your-face dunks, and the spectacular buzzer beaters. With the ESPN Full Court College Basketball Pay-Per-View package, you get maximum college basketball with more than 450 additional games from top conferences and coverage of the first 2 rounds of the NCAA Women's Tournament. Will you be there? The ESPN Full Court College Basketball Pay-Per-View package. To order, call your local cable company, DirecTV at 1-800-DirecTV or Dish Network at 1-800-333-DISH.
On ESPN Classic, every athlete has a story.
You just knew you were in the presence of greatness.
A story that inspires.
He was winning Wimbledon with one hand and fighting the ills of this world with the other.
That brings us together.
When Magic announced that he had the AIDS virus, Bird broke down and cried.
This is the award-winning Sports Century, 8 p.m. weeknights on ESPN Classic. Get ESPN Classic. Call your local cable or satellite provider now.
Rated E for everyone.
This is what it feels like when I start draining 3s.
This is what you'll see when you bring it in my lane.
This is what it feels like to be dunked on.
This is what it feels like to play in the NBA.
NBA 2K3.
46-32, 11:51 to go. And we mentioned Tom Coverdale joining the 1,000 point club, but even with this shot, he joins even a more exclusive club at Indiana.
Backed into that a little bit, but he makes that shot as he got back to the line. Damon Bailey and A.J. Guyton, only other players with 400 assists and 153-point field goals to go along with those 1,000 points.
I'll take any of those three on my team. Guyton, Bailey, Coverdale. Three names in the tradition of Indiana basketball. Winston Blake finds the open man. It's Burke. And Burke knocks down the three deep in the pocket. He's in double figures now with 12, and that's his third three. He came in with only 9. He's not the guy that you'd expect that from. Winston Blake still scoreless, Laz, in the ballgame.
Well, Northwestern's coming back. This is not a team you just run away from. As good a start as Indy had in the first half and in the second half, it's still now an 11-point game.
Out the window, Klein has his second bucket.
Mike Davis is looking for that other inside player to come in to help Newton and Leach. It looks like Klein's going to get that chance. He makes a nice bank shot there.
Bill Carmody making a trip to Assembly Hall, his first year at Princeton, trying to go back door to Tim Young. Hoosiers slam the door shut. Hornsby. He would have the record at 6 for 6 offensive rebound. Klein, and the foul goes on either Burke or Parker. But it wasn't the act, so Klein will be going for the strike.
Watch Hornsby misses it, but Klein comes over from the weak side, goes right up strong. Boy, they like to see that. A lot of times you got to get a rebound, and then they try to dribble or pass out. Boy, he gives him a little shove. Is that a foul when your teammate does that to you?
You got to love that. 6 now with 5.
But give Coverdale some credit, too. At the other end of the floor, so Tim Young had a lead on him for that high lob pass. Coverdale reached up and knocked that pass away to start the Indiana fast break.
So the Cats down 49-35. 10:35 to go. Klein got the message from Mike Davis by not playing in Columbus. Parker a little bit too shy. Young gets the long rebound. So Tim Young calls the timeout.
Good timeout there. He's trapped in the corner and called the 20-second timeout.
Bill Carmody once had a 20-game winning streak. One of 4 coaches to have a perfect year in the Ivy League. The only coach to go perfect in his rookie campaign. 49-35. Boy, 35 points for the Cats. Still 10.5 minutes to go. But
well, both teams like to play defense. That's what we're looking at here, Mike, and that's why it's a low-scoring game.
Again, for Bill Carmody, the Cats, they have Michigan at home Saturday. Then they go on the road to Minneapolis, Madison, and Columbus. Wow. 3 straight road games for Northwestern. And as you pointed out in the first half, it all comes back to you, but you like to balance it out as much as you can. And the home teams are 9-2 in the Big Ten. It's tough to get a victory on the road in this conference.
Newton with that steal on the out-of-bounds play.
Last time Hoosiers beat Northwestern here in Assembly Hall, 79-67, actually clinched the Big Ten championship. There's another 3. Strickland, his second 3. Nine threes for Indiana tonight. It's 52-35. Parker. Young trying to get something done. Stops. Out to the freshman Maley. Jimmy Maley, a 6'6 freshman. There's Maley. Ball control that time. Maley's first bucket. He averaged 14 points for the Cats his first 3 collegiate games. In the last 7, he's been down to 4.
Very good patience there by Northwestern. They didn't get the shot they wanted. They kept setting it up again. And then Maley finally got the one they needed.
Newton. Hands off to Klein coming down the lane. Last touch by Northwestern. It stays with the Hoosiers. Burke coming back in with 4 fouls.
It is inside to Newton. He goes to Klein. tried to shift that ball around and get slapped out of bounds.
Talk about a player with an extra bounce in his step out there. Sean Klein after not playing in Columbus. Newton turns off to the left, and here comes to Tim Young now. Inside 10 minutes, the time of the essence, and there's a walk by T.J. Parker.
He thought about the shot and then decided nobody was on him to take a few steps in, but in the process traffic.
So Northwestern, last 4 games, shooting 27% from behind the arc.
And that, by the way, is what Indiana holds its opponents to, 27%.
Except for Big Ten play now after that onslaught by Columbus. As a matter of fact, Indiana, 27%, number 2 in conference play, 44%. Of course, that'll change. Only 2 games into the Big Ten season. But goes to show you what things can happen with one ball game. So Bill Carmody actually inside the mark, shooting 61% over the last 4 games.
The three-point shot's a big part of his offense. To add that down to 27% is going to hurt their offensive output.
Coverdale lines up a 3, knocks it down. So Coverdale now with 9 points, all on from behind the arc.
The shooting's such a big thing for Indiana. They didn't make them against Ohio State. Tonight, that's their 10th three-point shot, and then now they got a comfortable 18-point lead.
Jim O'Brien went big with a bigger lineup against the Hoosiers and played that zone. That in itself is risky. I mean, it worked out for Ohio State, but this Indiana team can shoot lights out when they're hot. Maley tries to cap off the break. And the Wildcats found 6th gear that time, but couldn't capitalize with a bucket. Goes out of bounds, and it will be Northwestern basketball. Inside 8 minutes now, 7:57 to go before they put this one in the books. 55 for Indiana, 37 for the Wildcats of Northwestern.
Racy. Racy.
What?
What's the story? How about a little hustle?
How about taking it easy?
You think the world revolves around you?
I got a lot of teeth to brush.
You're another pampered athlete. That's... Wally, no! No! Zerbiak! Zerbiak, get out here!
There's a line.
Thanks for the ride, Beamer.
Anytime, Scott. See you.
Barry Bonds will go down in history as the best baseball player
Women
ever.
have better
Golf
girlfriends.
is not a sport.
America finally accepts soccer.
Hockey in June.
Right now, not much.
Does anyone else find
You know, it's a sad
commentary?
The Eagles will win this year's Super Bowl.
You start to care more about the game than the
Of his $250 million salary.
The line between college and professional sports is becoming dangerously blurred.
Just because you were once an all-star doesn't mean you're qualified to run for office.
37 Indiana on top as they try to bounce back from the loss to the Buckeyes in Columbus. We're in Assembly Hall in Bloomington, the home of the Hoosiers. I'm Mike Gleason, my partner John Laskowski. One of the former Hoosier greats sitting to my right, and it's great to have you with us tonight as we go a little bit deeper into another competitive Big Ten season. Tom Coverdale joining the 1,000-point club a few minutes ago, and Northwestern still looking for their 40th points. Maley got it.
Can't leave him open. Only 6 points a game, but he's a deadly shooter from the outside. Good find for Bill Carmody for the Northwestern program.
Strickland's got a couple of threes, missed that time. Durancic rebounds, and Burke, who's had the hot hand with 12 points, And 3 threes for the Cats with the basketball, but playing with 4 fouls. Tony Parker. He had 8 points against Purdue, which snapped a string of 11 straight games of double figures. It's pretty good for a rookie. Parker from way downtown. Oh, he lights it up.
That was a quick release on that shot. I don't think Hornsby thought he'd try it. And before he knew it, Parker had the shot away and in.
So back-to-back threes for Parker. He's in double figures. And we've got a 12-point game. 55-43.
Yeah, give Bill Carmody credit. This team does not waver from the game plan regardless of what the score is. It makes a big difference.
Yeah, they were saying earlier today that they feel that they'll be competitive. They'll be in every ball game this year, but the question is, can they come out on top and seal the deal?
Well, one of the things that is working against them is their starters play 80% of the minutes. They don't go to the bench a lot. And in the rigors of the Big Ten, some of these guys will be tired toward the end of ball games, and that is something he's concerned about.
That's a great point, especially when a night when one of your better shooters is having an off night. Parker trying to warm up now, rolls off. Parker, we mentioned the 11 straight games of double figures. Last Wildcat to do that was Evan Eschmeyer, and he did it his senior season. Last touch by Burke. Stays with Indiana. A.J. Moye checking back in for Mike Davis, and for Tim Young coming back in for Bill Carmody.
Good job by T.J. Parker, his first visit to Assembly Hall. Moye again in for the Hoosiers, and Mike Davis giving him every opportunity to show what he can do.
Fans chanting A.J. Moye. Well, they love the junior out of Atlanta. Coverdale from way downtown. Oh, that was Hornsby territory, Laz.
Shot clock was down to 3 seconds, so Coverdale had to take a shot from farther than he wanted to, but an inside foul on the rebound goes on Sean Klein. Look at that shot. Nails it.
4 threes for Coverdale. Hornsby with 5 threes. Hoosiers on top by 15 again, 58-43. Luancic. That's the second time he's put his shoulder down. And as he went into the lane, that's the second time he's been called with traveling. 6'8" sophomore out of Croatia. So Marshall Strickland getting a lot of minutes here. 9 points. Of course, that big game he had against Virginia, 15. 12 of his 15 in the last 9 minutes of that game as the Hoosiers went over and won the championship of the Maui Classic. Vedran Vukusic. There's a guy right there, probably the best player on the team, Bill Carmody said. Hurt his shoulder last year, tried to come back this season, hurt it again, 2 surgeries. He's 6'8", he's got a big body, can shoot lights out. They said when they lost him, didn't want to go as far as saying they lost their season, but that was a big, big dent in that Northwestern season right there. Coverdale's feeling it now. There's another 3. 5 threes, 15 points. Now keep in mind, he had 3 points at halftime, and Bill Carmody jumped off the bench. Indiana 12 of 21 now from long range, and Tom Coverdale enjoying his trip to the launching pad. 4:54 to go, 61-43, and
see, the difference is when you're making your 3-point shots. Hornsby draws the defense there, and then Coverdale able to get that shot over Jennings. But Northwestern's guarding on the inside to prevent the inside scores for Indiana to go. That gives the outside shot to Coverdale and Hornsby. They're knocking it down tonight.
And the Wildcats with 4:54 to go. They've exhausted all their timeouts. Hoosiers with Illinois coming up on Saturday. Then the rematch with the Buckeyes here in Assembly Hall. Then they hit the road at Purdue and at Michigan State. And what's the old saying? There's no gimmies in the Big Ten.
And by February 1st, we'll know what this Indiana team's like. When you go through that kind of schedule, and see where the Hoosiers stand in the Big Ten rank.
So So Coverdale Hornsby continue to battle. Now Coverdale taking aim at Damon Bailey. Of course, I don't know, A.J. Guyton. They say they're on pace, both Hornsby and Coverdale, to catch Brian Evans, but A.J. Guyton up 283. That's a lot of threes.
He's way out there, isn't he?
Way out there. Let's just show you how much Hoosier fans can appreciate A.J. Guyton's career. 283 threes. That's pretty impressive. Hoosiers take care of business at the 5-minute mark, as you can see, 9-0. So Jimmy Maley, the rookie now, with a couple of threes. He has 8 all in the second half. Burke trying to get something going, goes off the window. Nice move by the 6'8" senior.
And 5 straight quick points by the Wildcats.
Well, you're right.
Now 13 points.
They won't go away, will they?
It's great to have the fight that this team does.
And Bill Carmody was saying a lot of that, the attitude was with the younger players. He said whether or not they keep it going. Boy, that's another 3. Boy, talk about the hometown bounce, huh?
Well, Coach, I think coaches think those shouldn't count, the visiting coach anyway. I mean, come on, the guy hits the rim and goes straight up and comes back down.
And that's it by Aaron Jennings, 55.
Jennings in double figures now with 10. He had 8 of the 10 in the first half, so he's been quiet here with 3:40 to go in the ball game. Again, if you tuned in late, Bracy Wright, no action. 14 straight games in double figures. A.J. Morin, nice dish to Klein.
Felt that double team coming. Wrapped around a little bounce pass. There's Bracy Wright on the Indiana bench.
Bracy Wright, a sore back. He's got a nerve in his back, lower back, right, Laz?
It's been bothering him really since after the Ohio State game. Didn't practice this week for Indiana. And, of course, Indiana will want to try to have him back for Saturday's game against Illinois.
19.1, second in the Big Ten in scoring, leading this Indiana team in scoring. It's going to be interesting, you know, Mike Woodson, 18.5 points. We talked about this before the broadcast. It's going to be interesting to see if Bracy Wright will sustain and maintain that 19-point average.
Well, sometimes in the non-conference games you can sneak up on guys, especially the freshmen. But by the time you get to Big Ten, they've scouted you and they know they need to stop the leading scorer on the team, and it's Bracy Wright for Indiana.
Phil Bova blows the whistle with 4 on the shot clock for Indiana. Foul goes against Jatim Young. Tom Coverdale's been the story here in the second half. He has 18 points, 15 in the second half, 6 threes for the 6'2" senior from Noblesville, Indiana.
For the extra point and the win. Quit moving your hands.
What's the matter, Tom? A little pressure?
Quit it.
Snow.
Green Bay.
December.
Lambeau Field.
Come on, pull the trigger. Let's go, Jackson. Pull the trigger, man.
All right, just...
You get a choke? Oh, I guess not.
Sunday NFL Countdown, 11 a.m. on ESPN.
You are now entering ESPN.com. Action Sports Destination. ESPN.com. Hit it hard.
16-point lead for number 17 Indiana, 66-50. Now let's take a look at today's game summary brought to you by Steak and Shake.
Well, Indiana got off to the big lead early, 11-0 to start the game. And there you see the statistics, 61% shooting for the Hoosiers and 13 made three-point field goals. But look at Northwestern, they've made 9. The difference being the rebounds there, Mike, 28-16. Coverdale only 3 points at the half, is now up to 18 points.
And Laz, listen to these numbers. 18 points, 6 assists against Ohio State. How about 18 points, 6 rebounds, 10 assists?
Well, Mike Davis has wanted him to be more productive, and that's exactly what he's getting out of Tom Coverdale today. Hornsby's back on track. He's got a career-tying high 17 points. So it's the backcourt, the outside scoring for Indiana that's made the difference.
6 rebounds, 10 assists. Now Steve Downing, the last Hoosier, have a triple-double. Did it way back in 1971 against Michigan. He had 28 points, 17 rebounds, and 10 blocks. So I don't know, with 2:25 to go, do you think Mr. Coverdale can come up with 4 rebounds?
He's 4 rebounds and 10 assists, obviously a nice stat as well, but it's going to be tough here with just 2:25 to go.
Nice look, Hornsby. And he kisses it off the window. No harm there with Jimmy Maley over his back, and Hornsby with 19 points.
That would be his career high.
Young splitting the defense. Nice job by Jatim Young. He's in double figures with 10. So the Cats now with 4 in double figures. Good balance, but still trailing 68 to 52.
Northwestern with the foul there. They're not over the limit, so they want to try to stop that clock and get Indiana to the foul line.
So Bill Carmody, Jimmy Maley goes out with 8 second-half points, and Evan Seacat, a 6'2 freshman out of Paoli, Indiana.
Our town in southern Indiana. His former Indiana All-Star last year was Seacat. Great shooter.
Matter of fact, didn't he set a record in that Kentucky All-Star game with 6 threes?
He loves to shoot from the outside. Gym rat, as we know him here in Indiana, loves to get that ball, go to the gym, start shooting around. And I'm sure for Seacat, a great experience to get a chance to play here at Assembly Hall.
It's kind of contagious in the Hoosier State, though, being a gym rat.
It happens a lot. 6'2", he's 180 pounds. Had 16 points already in a game this year against Illinois Chicago.
So Hornsby with 19, and now Coverdale with 19. So the two seniors, the scoring battle going on here tonight. Another substitution, Mohamed Hashad, a 6'5 freshman out of Montreal, checks in. Mr. Quebec, or is it Mr. Quebec?
Either way.
Either way?
Either way. Some would say one way and some the other way. You're safe either way.
I always said Quebec, and then I heard somebody from Detroit calling it Quebec. I thought, well, maybe I was wrong all these years. Wouldn't be the first time I was wrong. So Coverdale, 16 of his 19 in the second half as he flirts with a triple-double, but with 1:20 to go in the ball game, a little difficult for him to match Steve Downing. Last triple-double back in 1971. Jennings, a little bit too strong on the 3. Aggressive rebound, Hornsby. Less than a minute to go in the ball game. Indiana will go to 2-1 and 12-3 overall after going 25-12 with a share of the Big Ten championship last year.
Try to run that shot clock down.
Newton, nice touch. That's a 2. So Newton with 8.
The high screen by Coverdale for Newton to take a 3-point shot. Probably won't be in Indiana's offense on a regular basis.
There's some of the explosive quickness by T.J. Parker. Parker again. There's that 3-point touch by the Paoli, Indiana native, Evan Seacat.
See the quick release that time. He didn't take long at all, even though he had a man on him.
Newton with 8 points, 10 rebounds, so he needs a bucket here for his 9th double-double. But A.J. Moye is going to melt the clock and run it out. It's going to be a 71-57 final for Indiana. Mike Davis goes to 12-3. 2-1 in the Big Ten. Tom Coverdale, big second half for the Hoosiers. Marshall Strickland in on the scoring parade as well, as it was raining threes for Mike Davis' Hoosiers. Jatim Young averaging 15 over his last 4 games. He winds up with 10. Cats with 4 in double figures. Hornsby was the story in the first half. He had 4 threes. He had his first 5, which tied a school record. He and Keith Smart, 5 for 5 for threes. The bottom line, though, 71-57. Hoosiers come out on top. George Leach couple of blocks in the ball game. 6 first-half points, didn't score in the second half, but definitely supplied a spark in the first half. But Kyle Hornsby heads for the locker room. Hornsby with 19 points. Coverdale also with 19, and John Laskowski will be back to talk with Mike Davis and Tom Coverdale after we take a quick timeout. 71-57, number 17 Indiana victorious again tonight.